no lie at this point that most people will do anything to get a little bit of fame, especially when it comes to TikTok trends. I would like to think that we've covered some of the worst on this channel, talking about the people that have faked mental illness, but honestly, in my opinion, something just as bad are those that also fake physical illness as well. And believe me, for some reason, there's no shortage of content of people that have also faked physical illnesses, such as cancer, and with some of those stories being so dramatic to the point where some of the people who have done it have even lied to their own children, created a TikTok fan base, sold them supplements lying, or even stealing money from a church. Right here is some of the worst people on the internet that have been taken down, which honestly, in my opinion, is a good thing. If you guys also think that's a good thing, make sure to hit the like button today, as it helps these videos and it helps the algorithm, so we can spread this video around to show everyone these people's true colors. The first TikToker that I want to talk about in today's video was a woman who went by the name of Dawn Lineberger. What makes these stories so much worse, in my opinion, is the fact that not only do they lie to their audience and fans, they actually go out of their way to take money, whether that's donations or setting up GoFundMes, where in most cases, people donate thousands of dollars and these TikTokers just steal the money, claiming they have cancer when they never did. Dawn Lineberger here though was one of the worst ones in my opinion. Not only did she do that, and let's be honest, that's extremely scummy, but this next bit is even worse. She lied to her 2 children, telling them that their mother was going to die. Watch as one of her friends from a local church found out, and this was her reaction after having to tell the 2 children that their mother was lying.
I had no clue. She has 2 little boys that had to be told yesterday that her mom was lying and not dying.
Now, Dawn Lineberger here made countless TikToks, all hitting a different range of variety on her TikTok account.
Yesterday, whenever I was on my live, I talked about the hat that I wear to chemo, so I figured I'd share it with you. It's this. I do wear it. My shark hat brings a lot of joy into a sad place.
She saw herself as this kind of messiah of uplifting people. People would go to her TikTok account actively looking for uplifting videos. As Dawn Lineberger, again, faked having cancer, tried to look in the best of everything, creating these TikToks in which she would talk extremely positively and give people advice.
You are valued. You need to start loving yourself. Show some self-love. Use that bath bomb that's been sitting in your closet. All you need to do is the best you can.
Always do the right thing, even if it means standing by yourself.
Which honestly, looking back now, maybe she could have taken some of her own advice. Always be honest. Yeesh. That didn't age well. Furthermore as well, on her TikTok account, she would create updates as well, updating her fans on the progress of her cancer treatment, telling us that she had procedures in the following days or weeks.
I'm going through it. I have a procedure coming up in 5 days.
It's easy to note right now too that she actually shaved her head to play the part of this cancer victim. But honestly, this would just be her downfall in the end.
Instantly to me, when I saw the shaven head and, oh, I've got cancer and all this, I said, big red flag, that's all fake. That's not true.
As creating these videos, and again, talking to one of her close friends at the church in Louisiana, her friend actually double-checked her story to see if it checked out, and to her surprise, she wasn't on the system at the hospital that she claimed that she was going to for treatment. Her friend said this when she started to see the warning signs.
A woman from one of the churches apparently was going to drive Dawn to one of her treatments, and upon arrival, she didn't have an appointment, and the drover was confused. Dawn just wanted to leave, and instead of making a new appointment, so a lot of miscommunication, nobody knew what was going on. Lady went back in to find out what was going on. Apparently, Dawn was not in the system at all at the Cancer Institute.
To which, shortly after, Dawn Lineberger actually created her final TikTok, as her downfall at this point was just inevitable. The clock had already started ticking before she was about to be found out.
Even though I'm laying here, I'm not feeling too great. I've made it. I've came this far. Let's keep on going.
till shortly after, Dawn Lineberger actually got arrested. And that's when some of the police reports actually started coming out about Dawn Lineberger and the accusations that turn out to actually be true, as this police report reads this.
Huntsville, Alabama. A Huntsville woman is accused of faking a terminal cancer diagnosis to allegedly con people into giving her money. 40-year-old Dawn Lineberger was arrested by Huntsville police on Wednesday and charged with theft by deception. Venmo, TikTok, Facebook, and GoFundMe are just some of the social media platforms she's accused of using to allegedly deceive people into sending her charitable donations. Even though I'm here, I'm not feeling that great. I've made it. I've come this far. Let's keep on going, Lineberger recently said in a video posted to her TikTok page. In her posts, Lineberger dons a shaved head. Not all depression looks the same. Depression can be that mom who is getting up and taking care of her kids, said Lineberger in another TikTok post. At the top of Lineberger's TikTok page are links to various payment apps, including Venmo, which shows a long list of people who have sent her money along with comments of support. A recent GoFundMe page Lineberger allegedly set up to pay for her purported treatments raised over $800 before being taken down. Since her arrest, a number of posts have popped up on her social media accounts expressing outrage over Lineberger's alleged actions. For now, Lineberger remains in the Madison County Jail.
But more than just that, there was actually reports as well from news organizations. Again, that's just kind of how big some of these stories get. It's nice to at least see a backing behind this in terms of people actually get very pissed off about this, understandably so. So I'm glad this got a lot of coverage, but a news organization actually went to the prison, took a news team with them, and reported the story.
Nolan, earlier this week, an additional theft of property charge was added on top of the initial theft by deception charge that Lineberger is facing. Today, I spoke to one of Dawn's friends who she met via TikTok, who is listening in on some of the jail phone calls with Lineberger, and she tells me the alleged lies continue. Dawn Lineberger remains in the Madison County Jail on theft by deception and theft of property charges. Lineberger is accused of stealing thousands of dollars through GoFundMe accounts, money wiring apps, and TikTok.
Her very sweet demeanor made it really hard to see past the red flags that were there.
Harmony Johnson Church became close to Dawn on TikTok and was part of a group of creators with Lineberger who all spent countless hours organizing donation tactics in support of her for medical and living expenses. Turns out her house is owned by Lincoln Church of Christ, a local church named on the charge.
She was very private about how much she was getting.
Now, it's been stated that apparently she was going through some financial trouble at the time. Again, one of her Facebook posts actually said this, foreshadowing the events that were going to be taking place over the next few years. The changes about to take place are going to make people mad, but I have to do what is needed for my family, period. Don't like it? Too bad. In which shortly after, all the events that just took place happened. I'm all for one for doing anything for your family, but this was your best answer? Really? This was the conclusion that she came to. Okay, that makes sense. It even got as bad as well to another person that reached out to help her, creating some of the fundraisers too. You can see him in this TikTok account feeling rather silly after the fact, which I gotta state, again, it's just incredibly sad. It makes people like this not want to help other people in the future. Not to even talk about the fact that it's taken away from other people that go through this. Say for example, the worst case scenario, a kid having cancer who could have gone to Disney World and get somewhat enjoyment out of life before passing. But people like this take that away from those people and inevitably burns them from ever helping anyone else ever again.
So this is a post I never thought I would have to make. And this is the reason why people don't help people anymore. After all the GoFundMes, the rallies, the donations, trying to help another human being. This scum, I was gonna call her a lady, but scum, who is known on here as Work Hard, Pray Hard, I'll tag her below, faked having cancer for the last year. Yeah, let that sit in. And has over $15,000 in donations from us on TikTok, who all rallied for her, churches in her area, and is now in jail for it and having an investigation against her. So if any of you are friends with her and donated, I'm sorry, because me and Joy kind of started that whole donation thing, and now we both feel bad.
But I remember with this story, it actually went rather dark after she got convicted. It had stated that she had to pay back the victims that she stole the money from, with a final police report coming out talking about the whole case right right here.
Huntsville, Alabama. A Huntsville woman who admitted to scamming people out of thousands of dollars under the guise that she was dying from cancer is out of jail tonight. 41-year-old Dawn Lineberger was released after agreeing to a plea deal on her theft by deception charge. It's actually the plea deal she originally turned down just a few weeks ago, but after sitting behind bars for 11 months, she had a change of heart. She will now be on probation for 36 months and will start paying back the thousands she stole from people who wanted to support her fake fight with cancer. Every child looks forward to celebrating their birthday. One father says that luxury was taken from his 7 and 8-year-old sons. They were made to believe that their mother was dying of stage 4 breast cancer and that she wasn't going to live to see their next birthday, said Lineberger's ex-husband. The father, who didn't want us to show his face or use his name, says his ex-wife Dawn Lineberger fooled him and everyone else into thinking she was dying. Lineberger was able to collect around $25,000 in donations from social media and online payment methods. She was even given a place to live, rent-free from Lincoln Church of Christ. She was caught and charged with theft by deception and was booked into the Madison County Jail on April 14, 2021. 11 months later, in exchange for a guilty plea, Lineberger was released from the Madison County Jail last Friday. Her attorney, Shay Golden, explains why she originally turned it down. The aggravator was a little excessive, but after sitting in jail for a year, unable to post bond, she said the aggravator did not matter and she was ready to get out and start paying some of the money back, said Golden. Lineberger has joint custody of her 2 sons with her ex-husband. The boys are currently with him in another state. She'll need permission to leave Alabama. We immediately had the conversation with the boys when she was released. Their first response was they didn't want to see her, but as time went by over the weekend, they're a little hurt that she hasn't tried to reach out. Golden says she wants to right her wrongs. Honestly, I thought that was big on her part from day one to say, hey, I know what I did was wrong. I expect her to be a one-time client and to not do anything else, said Golden. Golden tells me right now Lineberger is having to sort out where she's living and finding a job so that she can start paying back her restitution.
Which leads us to our second case, another TikToker. And her name goes by the name of Maddie Russo. I'm sure some of you guys even recognize her, as she went through a massive scandal in 2022, once again telling her audience that she had cancer when she didn't, and even trying to sell supplements. One of the things you might notice about Maddie is that she still has her hair. Her conclusion to this result was the fact that she was taking biotin supplements.
Biotin, collagen, and keratin are crucial vitamins that are shown to help with hair, skin, and nail growth.
Which, don't get me wrong, I'm sure biotin's great for your hair, but not so great that it would literally stop the effects of chemotherapy. Again, I know there are cases of people going through chemo and still having their hair, but nonetheless, it was a red flag. But I suppose this all started back in 2022 when Maddie claimed that she got a call from her doctor, as she recalls, as the worst day of her life.
Of 2022. Quite possibly the worst day of my life. I got the call from my oncologist and they found a mass on my pancreas and I had stage 2 pancreatic cancer at just 19 years old.
She then states in further TikToks that she was on the edge whether or not to create these TikToks documenting her journey.
It was one of my worries. I was like, do I do it? Do I not? But I'm glad I did because it has been probably one of the best distractions.
As she doubles down and claims that she's rather relieved that she did, but this would come back to bite her in the end. That mixed with the fact that she went out of her way to go create a GoFundMe, which in the end actually raised over $37,000. Furthermore, she used to do these posts in which Maddie would give her fans free advice, as she would call it Maddie's advice, with these bullet points. But oh, the narcissistic tendencies of Maddie got far worse than just that. It's almost like the likes and comments at this point in time were just too addicting to Maddie Russo, as she would give even more advice and even claim that she was still going on runs. Just an absolute true inspiration. She even claimed that her hair started falling out, took this picture, which is an obvious indicator of someone using a pair of scissors to cut off some of their own hair. She used a picture as well in which she claimed this was her saying drained from chemo, but this picture can easily be found on Google, as you can actually search for images on Google, which means Maddie stole this picture. Another thing as well is people over on TikTok started calling her out of the misplacement of her IV bag.
She posts pictures like this that have her port. And I don't know if you've ever seen a cancer port. They're not usually this sloppy. And what got a lot of people that started talking is that this is a feeding tube. This is an NG tube that goes in your nose, down into your stomach, right? It's not prime. And what that means is that if she was really using this, first of all, there's nothing in that bag. This would be where the nutrition would be. There's nothing in this bag. And if she was actually being fed via feeding tube, this tube would be full of this white liquid. There's nothing in that. So she would just be pumping air into her stomach. And those look like cotton balls. And her port is still messy. Also, you see that right there? A little purple spot? Yeah, that's supposed to be down in her stomach. That's her taking something and going like this and saying it's an injury.
Other people did even more deep dives and realized in the hospital pictures it had the same vase as the one at her house.
What the hell kind of chemo port is that supposed to be? First off, it's in the wrong place. And this is what the bandaging looks like. She's not in the hospital because there's a lamp right there. Jerry, hospitals have lamps. Yes, but not ones that are in the background at her apartment in other videos, where she clearly took the picture off the wall behind.
All these things honestly stacking up against Maddie Russo, it wasn't looking good, as that didn't seem to bother her very much as she doubled down with even more posts, trying to make it sound all a hell of a lot worse. As we're practically caught up now to the present day, about 2 months ago, Maddie actually finally had her court hearing and had to sit in front of a judge as people stood up there talking out against what Maddie had done, telling their side of the story of how Maddie either manipulated them, deceived them, or took resources away from them that could have been better used for people that actually had cancer. And here's a little snippet of that, of Maddie Russo reading out a statement to the judge after being caught.
I have not spoken this entire time while my case was ongoing for several reasons, so this is difficult to talk about, but I'm just gonna try my best. This experience, has been by far one of the most difficult things to navigate in my life. It has been very scary and challenging in more ways than one. I fully acknowledge that what I did was wrong, and I am incredibly sorry. If there was anything I could do to take it back, I would. The reality is that I can't. The only thing I can do is correct it, learn from it, and move forward. I beat myself up about it the whole last year in silence because I didn't know how to tell anybody what was going on. After January, I have continually beat myself up about it as well. I realize that I can't undo the past, but that doesn't mean that I still can't walk away from this experience as a better human and move forward. My goal now is to make amends in the ways I can, try to learn from my mistakes, figure out how I got myself here so I don't repeat this terrible mistake, and do what I can to turn this lesson into a positive, with the hope that I can make amends and hopefully positively influence the many people touched by my poor choices, cancer, or people mistakenly thinking about following in a similar mistaken path. A lot of people have made speculation as to why I did this and how somebody who looked like they had everything together could have such a mess. I didn't do this for money or greed. I didn't do this for attention. I did this in an attempt to try and get my family back together. I come from an extremely broken and separated family ever since I was 2 years old. Over the years, it has gotten steadily worse, and a lot has happened internally to our family. A family is supposed to be one that's drawn together, not drift further and further apart. I was always told that, quote, I was the only one that could fix it, and I have tried for years. Nothing was working, and I kept pulling for everybody to be a normal, functioning, loving, supportive family. I thought if I said what I said, it would make everybody pull together. It didn't work, and it only got worse. After that happened, I didn't know what to do. I couldn't tell anybody, and too many people knew already. From here, it all went downhill, and it snowballed quickly and hard. The way I went about this was not right, and I wish I would have sought out help regarding my family before making this immature decision. I was 18 years old, and I was a freshman in college when it took place. I'm young, and I don't know it all. I was not being rational. I have learned a lot from this experience, and I want to take this bad moment in my life and turn around and do good for society. I want this to reach an audience to say that it is okay if you are struggling and you need help. It is not a sign of weakness to say that you need help with something and you're not okay. I wish I wouldn't have done this a long time ago. It is also a reminder that everybody is silently battling something and you never know what is going on in somebody's life. Let this be a reminder to give each other more grace and compassion. Some might say I looked like I had it all together. I didn't. Instead, I had a situation I was stuck in a family that was, well, about as far from family as it can get. I had deep wounds I never learned how to heal from little on. I'm not afraid to admit that because it meant I finally learned how to heal from the inside out and realize that I am not God. I can't fix everything that is not in my control. All I can do is be a better version of myself every day, step by step. I have taken big steps to grow and learn from my choices and the things that have gotten me here. I have been engaged in counseling and I plan to continue. I've also continued working. I am set to finish college in May and start an exciting new chapter in my career that I feel fortunate to have. In the future, I want to go back to school and get my master's. But most importantly, I want to create my own family someday. I want to break this cycle of how I grew up. And I wanted to make a family that I wish I had. One full of love, belongingness, support, cheerful gatherings at holidays and celebrations, and a cohesive unit. God willing, I pray for this. I also pray for all of those that were hurt by my irrational decision. I pray for the damage that has resulted from my actions and any harm or disrespect I caused or showed to anyone battling cancer, touched by cancer, or fighting to help people with cancer or other medical issues. Your Honor, I'm a good kid. I know I am still a good person. I have a lot to give to this world and I don't give up. I would do anything to take back what I did. Again, I am so terribly sorry. This is something that I will have to live with for the rest of my life when I look at myself in the mirror. But I know it doesn't define me. It's not what mistakes we have done that determine our character, but instead how we respond to them and how we move forward from them in the future that shows our true character and resilience. My future gives me hope, and I am determined to make it the best I can. I ask for forgiveness and a second chance.
In which later on, the judge responds with a sentence for Maddie Russo. But honestly, the actual sentence that she got was a complete disappointment. Maddie didn't actually face any jail time, and on the one hand, I do understand. She's not exactly a danger to society, a dangerous criminal. But that being said, I feel like you have to spend some time behind bars in this case to really understand the severity of the actions that you did. Maddie Russo didn't have to. The only punishment that she actually got was having to pay for the court fees and also pay everyone that she scammed back. Although having to pay everyone back from scamming them, I always find this a little bit confusing, as I don't really understand how they can trace back every single person that donated to Maddie. Sure, for the big donations, like $2,000, I get it. But what about the small ones? People that even donated $5 to $10. Are they really going to be able to trace back every single person? Remember, she made nearly $40,000 doing this. And while she seems upset in the courtroom and seems like she's understand what she's done is wrong, she had plenty of times throughout this whole year to come forward and admit that she was faking, but never did. So how sorry is she really? Then finally, for our third case, a UK woman that was actually living out in Australia who faked cancer, and it got so bad that she faked having seizures. She even gave herself bruises with the help of makeup, lied to all of her friends, the ones closest to her, supporting her at this hard time before everything fell through and Jamie's true colors really came out in the end. This one, in my opinion, is more of one of the interesting stories because the TV crew at the end even managed to hunt her down to actually interrogate her while she was out on a walk walking her dog, stating that Jamie was terminal 2 years ago. So what happened? Was it a miraculous recovery?
Really well for someone who's had terminal cancer multiple times. People accuse you, say that you're making that up, that you're lying about that.
Investigation at the moment for people attacked right now.
But going back to the seizures, her friends actually recorded some of the videos in which Jamie apparently had seizures. This is what that looked like, by the way.
This video captures one of hundreds of seizures Jamie Winder appeared to suffer in front of friends and work colleagues.
It's alright.
Well done, Jamie. That must have been very hard to practice in the mirror so many times to get that right, hey? You know, it's actually kind of nice to come back to some of these videos because I can actually reply to some of the comments that you guys left in this video stating that this is ridiculous. You wouldn't even be conscious in a seizure. But here Jamie is sitting upright as she appears to be putting on some kind of drama play on what a seizure looks like. Because I don't know about you guys. Not that I've seen many seizures in my life before, but I don't think this is how that works. An F- for Jamie. Now with Jamie here, it seemed like she liked to fake a lot of things. They would just claim to have cancer and create TikToks when they felt like they wanted some attention, I guess. Jamie here really went out of her way. Like, she used makeup as well and sent images to her friends, sending pictures like this.
Helen McClure says Jamie also reported suffering severe bruising to her legs, with this photo circulating as proof. They now believe it's a fake.
Stating that the cancer was so bad in her legs, it was causing bruising. Which again, I don't know if it is true, but I've not really heard of that either. Also, for your whole entire leg to be bruised this badly and somehow still manage to walk is kind of crazy to me. To not also state the fact that how manipulative this is. Don't get me wrong, if you're actually going through this for real, it must be extremely difficult. But to randomly just send pictures to your friends, why? So they can feel bad for you? So you can get a little bit of attention? Already, none of this is adding up, as I know people that really suffer with these types of things, same with the mental disorders, they don't go around bragging about it. And although the leg with the bruising is somewhat believable, I really had to draw the line when she sent this picture of her stomach.
Other friends received this picture of a stomach wound.
As I've literally seen kids with better Halloween costumes than what Jamie was trying to pull off here. This is absolutely insane. It looks like a bit of ketchup. Jamie, you ain't kidding anyone at this point. I guess one of the good things about people being this narcissistic, they can't help themselves. They seem to crave the attention so much that honestly, I feel like they send so much proof that it's their own end doing that gets them finally caught in the end. And Jamie was no different. As the lies didn't seem to just stop with Jamie, she claimed that her mother had died from cancer back home in the UK, and her father was so distraught it caused him to take his own life. Again, by the way, both of these things never happened. It was just another thing that Jamie said because she craved the attention of others.
But this wasn't the first time Jamie Winder had falsely reported her mother's death. A year earlier, on the other side of the country, she told friends in Perth her mum had died even more tragically.
I heard from Sarah that Jamie had contacted her and told her that she walked in and found her mum had suicided in her house.
As this wasn't the only time that apparently this happened neither. Jamie claimed that her mum had died countless times at this point, which is absolutely insane. That's the thing you choose to lie about to get attention. But an old friend group came forward and claimed that Jamie's mum had already passed away. You notice how these white lies get bigger and bigger? Mind you, I say white lies. Lying about your parents dying isn't exactly a small white lie, is it?
The tragedies just kept on coming, also informing colleagues that her ex-boyfriend, Peter Whitworth, had died of a brain aneurysm. Pete is also very much alive.
With all these things that Jamie had claimed have gone wrong so far, stacking up, and honestly at this point seeming rather unbelievable, her friends did some investigating and realized, surprise surprise, Jamie's mum was still alive, and also the letters from these so-called doctors talking about Jamie's stage 4 cancer were also a fraud. As her friends said this in the documentary on just how shocked they were when they found out.
Jennifer was the one who picked apart Jamie's web of lies in Perth, getting admissions that her parents, Jill and Charlie Winder, were alive, and a confession that she had arranged a fake letter about her stage 4 cancer.
I actually thought it was like a dream. Like, I was like, how is this even happening? Like, how could somebody actually play it off so well, like, and how did I believe it?
5 years later, still have nightmares, still question who is who.
And honestly, it's no surprise they were this shocked, as Jamie's lying about everything actually went on for a total of 5 years. I would have myself questioning reality at that point as well. Like, just imagine one of your best friends saying all of this, and it goes on for 5 years, only for them to turn around and find out it's entirely fake. I know a lot of Jamie's friends now also have mental health issues as a result of this, and honestly, I'm not surprised. It all goes a lot deeper than just lying for attention. When anyone fakes this kind of thing, it affects so many people. And hopefully with this video, we can really see how that happens. Whether that takes resources away from those that need it, takes attention away from those that need it also, funds and resources again away from those that need it, and the detrimental effects it leaves behind once they find out the truth, having themselves question reality, and forever leaves a permanent mark on their mental health. All three of these cases I think are absolutely disgusting, and I really wanted to make this video as I find these three to be the worst. If you guys wouldn't mind sharing this video around, leaving a like or a comment, again, it really helps the algorithm, and I would like these people to be well known across the internet for the deeds that they've done in the past. With that all being said, hope you guys are having a great week. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye bye.